Now hold on there, graphic man.
Hi, and welcome to Graphic Man Headquarters. Today I'm going to show you what some people would call a best of segment. Enjoy. The other day you and I were talking about posters. So we started looking at the Beast from 20,000, and so I got to looking around, and I found a couple of good posters of the Mole People.
Nice.
And I really like that guy on the far right by your knees. He's coming up out of the ground. I'll show you a close up. I really liked him. The other Mole Man poster was pretty. I'm calling it Mole Man. The Mole People poster, I think it's pretty cool. But it didn't have that little guy. And I thought, what if I added him to this poster? And so I got to fooling around, and I think I overdid it, fellas.
That's great.
In fact, here it is behind me. I could probably show it. I think Gratu's frozen, and he's missing this, but I already went to the print shop, so.
Nice.
Oh, to have talent.
Wow.
We
Yeah,
lost you.
Everything froze for a minute. That's so cool.
That looks
Oh, wow. Are you going to make, can we get a copy of that from you?
So you see this right here? That's the little guy from the first, the first poster.
Yeah.
I put him in there over the thing. So, and the Subterraneans, I found this picture of, I really like the mask or the card of that toy.
Yeah, the toy's terrible, but the card's great.
So I put him, for example, this guy right here. That's from the inside, just an inside panel. And then, of course, I got the torch from a Marvels.
Yeah.
The thing is from Bronze Age, but instead of Subterraneans, I put the guy from the toy card on as the face. And then, of course, whatever her name is, Cynthia, I just made her Sue Storm.
Question. Could you have put underneath, instead of like Hugh Beaumont and the four, could you have put Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Ben Grimm?
Yeah, sure. But I don't know. I think I was just trying to blend all the elements.
I think that is very, very cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So if you remember that cover, that's where I got Thing from, and you can see the difference in their faces. And then I had to reconstruct Thing's left foot kind of from scratch because it's covered up there.
It's amazing. So how many of these posters have you done now in this series? You've got the Sergeant Snorkel one, the Richie Rich. This. What else?
The Thrilling comics, the Tiger. Let's see if I have an extra
and it's Tony
copy
the
of
Tiger
that.
or something?
Yeah, I don't see it out available.
You're out of
Here
stock?
Here it is. Here it
I
is.
would appreciate that one.
Yeah. That was at the beginning of our episode.
Love that.
What does it cost to print a single poster?
About $2 to $3.
Oh man, I should send you some money. It's probably a hassle to go to the print shop, but I everything you do is amazing. And that poster you sent to Charlton 66 of Conga?
Yeah.
Holy shoot!
That was
Holy shoot!
I forget the artist, but a Ditko interior, but I forget the outside. The cover artist was. So anyway, I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Of course.
I mean, that just blends everything we like: old movies, monsters, superheroes.
Now wait just a minute. You're not going to bore us to tears with this atrocious tribute to Dr. Solar covers without telling us about the great writing, stories, and plot lines, are you? Great Scott, it's... Yes, Graphic Man, it is I, Literature Lad. You can't have a channel devoted entirely to graphics without giving equal time to the literature that is the very backbone of those cute little doodles and ink strokes.
I thought I had given you the slip in that old library devoted to Shakespeare sonnets.
Oh, I admit that it was a clever plan of yours and a most tempting trap, but after a few weeks, I was able to put two and two together.
The building was condemned and was scheduled for demolition. Didn't you notice the bulldozers pushing in the walls?
Who can pay attention to silly distractions when you are completely surrounded by delightful sonnets and shelves of literature?
Well, I suppose you can hang out here with me as long as you don't frighten any viewers away.
When are you planning on making a video about the greatest comic book series of them all?
Let me guess. Classics Illustrated.
Yes.
Oh, I suppose here in a few weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, I think now we might swing by a man from the East Coast who's got a heart of gold and red socks. It's none other than Dr. Silver. He's been
that's awesome.
he's been chomping at the bit. He can't wait to show us what he's recently got at a store visit. So I'm going to put you at full screen and take it away.
Do you know how close he came to being activated this week?
I couldn't do any worse, right?
They are winning tonight, though.
Are they? I haven't
At
seen
the moment.
score.
Yeah,
Well,
I wish I did have those.
just in case you didn't, I noticed that action just needs a little bit more action. So I decided to add some Marvel characters to Action Comics #1. And,
Oh, neat.
now you can really say it's action packed. So I like how Toro's taking that fireball right to that poor guy. But I knew
Very
you'd
cool.
I knew you'd come through and have some good action for us. So. Well, before we run over to Jambo, I want to ask you, Gratu, have you ever seen this movie?
Isn't it a Japanese movie?
Yes.
But what do they just insert John Carradine into it?
Right. And
Because you can tell the girl's Asian if you look hard enough.
well, are you sure? Because I
Wait.
looked at her and I didn't think she was Asian. I know they have two Japanese girls in that movie. I thought they must have had some American beauty pageant or something or model. And I just thought I was looking for, like the other mole people I did last time. I was looking for something. I thought, well, he's blue or kind of hairy. Maybe I could do a beast character. So I found this guy and I thought, well, I'll just put the head on him. But then I thought, well, why not just do a whole X-Men thing? And I love this cover because it's a good Kirby. And however, the Beast is on the cover. So I was going to have to remove him, and I did. And so I put the elements together, and I started to come up with this. And I thought, well, okay, well, I got the girl. Do I lose her or keep her? But I thought, well, she's gorgeous. So why not turn her into a mutant? I didn't want to erase Jean Grey. And I thought, why don't I just do a little Starlet Witch action on her? Yeah. And I love the old 60s costuming. So I started to put that around her, and then I started
wow.
Just kind of do that.
That's pretty cool.
And then I thought, if it's a movie, it would be The Destiny of Hank McCoy. And so here's the side-by-side, so you can still see where I kind of got it from. And when I did the mole people, Eric Breen asked about, hey, could you put, Reed Richards and Susan Storm in the credits? And I said I could. So just for him, I put Hank McCoy, and Eric Breen makes a cameo in this one. and I thought Yul Brynner would be a good Professor X. So
yeah.
All right. Well, now that y'all humored me, we'll run to Jambo. Well, let me drive you more crazy. What do you think of this movie?
I love the movie. Let's see what you did to it. Or have you already done it?
Well, I think, even though he's got like a shaggy diaper that leaks, I think he'd be a good giant man. And I thought, why don't I just get the old classic costume? Even though later he went with suspenders, I thought, why don't I do that black circle from his first appearance in Avengers 2? And so I went with this.
Oh, cool.
And the hard part was making that diaper look more streamlined as shorts.
Yeah, the diaper looks a little full there.
And then
If you look back at the original, I was going to suggest you turn him into Joe Biden.
yeah.
But it might be too muscular.
So I got that far, and I thought, wait a minute. They drew him with this belt, even the Alex Ross. So do I dare tackle a belt? It took a while, but I finally got a belt going. So here's the side by side. And you're probably saying, oh, Micah, you missed a golden opportunity. You could have turned the woman into the Wasp. And
Okay.
You're right. So I went back and I did the old costume of the Wasp.
Awesome. That is awesome.
So I can't decide which one I like better because the middle one is kind of like still an in-between, half movie, half Marvel. But anyway.
They're all wonderful.
Yeah, that's cool.
You need to.
I've already been to the shop and I absolutely love it.
And shooting arrows at cars in front of you is perfectly acceptable. So is allowing your aeromobile to crash into trees, possibly killing or maiming people. Anything is justified to take a bite out of crime.
Now hold on there, graphic man. You've been showing dynamic images of absurdity, but let's not forget that comics did have some valuable automobile information. Who could forget the lovely comic book titled How to Be an Expert Driver?
Now look, literature lad, I was going to mention those. For example, the one we're looking at right now came out in 1946. It was produced by the Ford Motor Company.
Oh sure, the graphics are nice, but we should slow down and read this great literature and the marvelous wordplay the author uses.
But we've got so much more to show the viewers. Besides, they can always pause the video if they want to back up and see that wonderful wordplay you described.
Were you going to mention that they made another book in 1947?
No, I wasn't.
Well, maybe Ford Motor Company isn't your thing. Perhaps you'd like to read Woody Woodpecker Gets a Chevrolet.
I'm sure the viewers would rather get back to the superhero.
If you like Dodge, you can read where Roy Rogers gets a 1955 Dodge.
Maybe later. Back to the bad driving. It's obvious to see what's going wrong in this picture.
Yes, women drivers.
Speaking of women, here's Wonder Woman performing the same car-over-the-head maneuver. In fact, this was done numerous times by different comic characters from different publications. Driving your car into a building seems to be just fine for cars, as you see virtually no damage is done to this car. This seems to be the preferred method of entering into a building, as demonstrated by one of the first appearances of the Batmobile, never mind who might be standing on the other side of the wall. We'll get back to Batman shortly. In the world of comics, it doesn't matter how old you are, everybody can drive. Just be sure to follow some basic rules. Donald Duck reminds us to always come to a complete stop before you get to the crosswalk, while Mickey Mouse predicts that the oil industry can help you maintain your car for many years. To help find your car in a huge parking lot, you might consider altering your ride to be more visibly unique and reflect your personality, like Catman. Yes, Catman. And if you think his Catmobile is a copy of Batman, well, for a brief period of time, Spider-Man actually drove around in a Spider-Mobile. Thanks to the mechanical know-how of the Human Torch, the Spider-Mobile was able to mimic Spider-Man's powers like web shooting, and it could even climb walls. I'm not sure if Superman would have approved of these unsafe driving conditions, but we'll never know if he even found out about it because the Spider-Mobile was short-lived. But it was easy to find in the crowded parking lot. So was the Joker-Mobile. Here the Joker has a one-seater, but it wasn't tall enough to be seen next to a bunch of SUVs, so he switched to this taller minivan with a big pink letter J on the side for maximum visibility. But let's face it, the most recognizable car in comics is the Batmobile. Driving through walls is Batman's recreational sport. Having his leg in a cast doesn't stop Batman from popping the clutch and enjoying the open road. Nor is Batman too worried about Robin's safety, as he clearly tolerates stunts like this, and he wants them to happen apparently all the time. He's clearly an automobile expert, and has more vehicles than Jay Leno. Whether it's cutting people off on the highway or surviving a rhinoceros attack, Batman has seen it all and done it all. But how did he get to be an expert on vehicular safety?
Well, let me show some silliness to get it out of the way. I'll take care of some business here. You all have seen the movie The Thing, Howard Hawks.
Yes.
I wanted to do something like that, but I got this lobby card, and try not to be too disappointed. Obviously, guess what I'm going to do to it? I'm going to add The Thing. And,
Cool.
and I even made a little bitty shot of the movie. So,
That's awesome.
so that's in there. So you say, well, that didn't take you too long. No. So I moved on to Sherlock Holmes.
Spider
And
Woman.
This movie is the Spider. So guess what I'm going to do to this one? I'm going to turn her into Spider Woman. The first thing I have to do is lose the black dress behind her legs, and I changed the exclamation point.
That is very
from,
cool.
I make it a question because Sherlock's going to figure out that she's not really the murderer. It must be this other guy, this grim guy. So not much to that either. But if you're wondering where I got that from, I was able to get that from issue number 3. I had to take the title off his head because it was kind of blocking and covering everything. So, but again, I didn't mess with Sherlock Holmes or Watson. I just kind of a very basic thing. So,
Can you send that to my email?
yeah. And
Me too.
so here's the
movie,
Quiet Man. So, would I dare to mess with John Wayne? Here he is in Ireland with Maureen O'Hara, and I want you to soak this image in because he's having to lean way back, and you don't know how long. I know this is a painting, but I'm sure they posed for photographs, and who knows how long he's had to hold her still. But they're framed by this yellow kind of border, and behind them is a little drawing there of a nice little scene. So we'll get back to that. So what am I going to do with Quiet Man? Well, in the Marvel universe, the one Quiet Man they had was Black Bolt. So I had fun with that little tuning fork on his head, and there's the whole cast. And that little drawing in the background, I had to replace that with Lockjaw.
And that dog bone.
But I had a blast with Medusa. She was already a redhead, and I love her costume, the old Jack Kirby, mostly blue with purple shorts. And but let me tell you, doing Black Bolt costume, that was a nightmare. And you know how everything should be symmetric? The little jagged lines on his shirt, her legs are covering them up, and it just irritates me. But bless his heart, he just doesn't look very heroic when you put a costume on him. But he is a rugged kind of guy. So thank you for humoring me. This wasn't exciting like the mole people I did, but I did have some fun with that. So on that note. Or he would let them fall to their death. Batman was by himself for 1 year. And during that year, he didn't even get on the cover every time. Here's the very next issue after Batman made his first appearance. So collectors know that these old Batman covers didn't always happen, and then everything changed with number 38. Batman would now share his adventures with a boy sidekick, and we would be treated to covers like this. So some comic collectors have created a phrase which they've called pre-Robin. And some people wish this style of Batman would have been allowed to continue a little longer without Robin. So I decided to play a joke on one of those guys. The victim for this practical joke is a guy named Ben. That's him on the right. These two guys talk about vintage comics every Sunday night. So I privately contacted John on the left, and I sent him some graphics that I had altered, placing a Robin on some old covers that just had a Batman. So now let's watch as John shows my images to Ben, who has no idea of what he's about to see.
I don't want to delay the list too much more, but, you know, we always talk about your hatred of Tech 38 and, you know, just Robin ruining that one. One of our astute listeners pointed out something that he found pre-38 that we've all missed. I don't know how we missed it. Where was he? This is from our friend Graphic.
Everything about, like, man,
makes your brain hurt.
Everything that's good and bad with comics on the same cover.
He was amused and did a couple others for us just to show off. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bravo. Oh, jeez.
227.
That should be Robin running.
We were gonna lead with this one, but you know, him hiding in the corner of 37.
Is that from 39?
29 coming in, replacing Batman, and one more for amusement. Peeking in the window there.
The last one's gold.
Love it. Oh, thank you, Graphic Man. We do have the best fans. We appreciate it. Ben is you could see the anger in his eyes on that.
In confusion. Angry confusion.
If I would have waited till a little later in the show, it really would have got him. All right.
Yeah, derailed.
And here's a few more crazy comics that I've altered. Enjoy. That time to show something totally ridiculous, like I do every week.
No.
I want to take you back to 1974. Have any of you guys seen the movie Dynamite Brothers? No?
No.
I don't think so, no.
You guys probably have good taste. I'm going to show you their trailer, be about a minute. We'll start off with the first version.
His name, Stud Brown.
Stud Brown's gonna take care of you.
And he's the baddest news in town. But don't cross him, because once you do, there's nowhere on earth you can hide.
Brother, please. I didn't mean to.
Stud Brown. He packs the biggest rod in.
So, any of you guys seen that?
Never heard of that movie. And I'm into blaxploitation.
Yeah. So they retitled it, and they got a kung fu fighter to join him called the Dynamite Brothers. So here's this. Trust me, this is all leading somewhere.
Together. Nobody could handle them, but when they're set free, all hell breaks loose. See for the first time, Kung Fu against street fighting. The Dynamite Brothers take on anybody, anytime. You'll never run fast enough to escape the incredible fury of the Dynamite Brothers.
Yeah, wasn't
Better
that
than
exciting?
Shang-Chi.
Wasn't that exciting? So I wanted to know the black guy. This is for Eric Breen, really, was Timmy Brown. He was drafted by the Packers in '59. He played one game and the Packers let him go. They were not impressed whatsoever. He went to the Philadelphia Eagles, and the very next year, the Eagles got revenge on the Packers and beat them in the championship game. You probably recognize him because he started a television and movie career after that. He was in the original MASH, like the first 6 episodes. You probably go, hey, here's this guy we never see again. And then he went on to do the Dynamite Brothers 1974. And this is a cover for the movie Dynamite Brothers by Gray Morrow. So what am I going to do with that? Well, I got to looking at it and I thought, can I make this Power Man an Iron Fist?
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I'll try him first with Luke Cage. And so I took the headpiece from Power Man number 50. And I know you're thinking, well, that doesn't look right because it's from the comic books. But don't worry, it was just a placeholder until I could just make it smooth and metallic looking. And I thought once I got a good shine off of it, I thought, I think I can make this a Power Man and Iron Fist. So then I had to work on getting rid of the chain that connects them because they're chained up for some reason. But I'm going to leave that bracelet on Luke Cage because he's got bracelets. And you'll notice when Gray Morrow put the fire in the background, that's going to be perfect surrounding Iron Fist's fist. And so I took his bracelet off, put a mask on him to hide the fact he's got to be a Caucasian. And then I started to work on the jacket. And I decided to make it real green, like his costume color. And I decided I'm going to keep the belt bottoms. I think that's 1974 cool. I stopped at his belt buckle because I figured I'm going to put a sash on him like Iron Fist has. And then I'll start working on smoothing out that jacket some more. The next thing I have to tackle is the tattoo on his chest, which shows up a little bit behind his hand. And I start to make his hand glow kind of white hot or whatever. And that fire is just working out perfectly. I put a little strap behind his mask. Then I went on to Luke Cage's shirt. Now, I had to make that yellow, which I can do, but all those little stupid designs and squares and boxes, it took hours and hours because I kept messing it up. But that's about as best as I could do to make it look like fabric. I was kind of pleased with that. So then I moved on to his belt. Now, Luke Cage has a chain belt, so I had to put an industrial strength belt around him. Then just work on the crowd scenes below, because in the movie, I guess they're always getting picked on by people. So I had to cover up the Karate Guy's face. So I took a picture from Iron Fist. I think Iron Fist #5. I put Danny Rand on there, and then I got to thinking, well, what about the cover from Hero from Hire #1? It had some good, street scenes behind it. I wanted to use those. I thought I'd like to use the lady with the afro and the dice, and even that guy that's shooting his gun. Except you can't really see his face too good because it's been kind of darkened out. So I got to thinking, I wonder if I can find John Romita's original to this, and if that face is salvageable. So I did find Romita's original, and I thought, oh, this will work out perfectly. I'll just grab her with the afro, the dice, and him. That's what he looks like before they darkened him. And I'll put that at the bottom next to the crowd with the fight scene. And so it just left one corner where I needed to put an Oriental Dragon. And I've now got Power Man and Iron Fist. I just needed to slap their title on. So I just grabbed one from the series. And then I put some movie information at the bottom, and I've got a Power Man and Iron Fist movie from 1974.
Lovely.
There's a lot of work for just that, but
Yeah, that's a lot of work already.
there's your side by side. So it's Gray Morrow artwork with a little bit of John Romita and a little bit of Graphic Man's.
I'm a keeper. I'm not a loser, and I ain't no weeper. I got the boys to make the noise. Won't ever let them hold me the noise. You shine the back, feel the crack. Well, now you're here, there's no way back.
Now hold on there, Graphic Man.
You're probably wondering, did I mess with pop culture any? Well, I tried. I thought I would do something about Craven. So I looked for this picture, and I guess they're calling this Craven. I think it looks more like Captain Hamster to me. But this smiling guy on the left, they're saying that he's going to be in an upcoming movie or something as Craven. Well, maybe I guess he looks like this drawing, but I'll probably sound like a snob. But to me, this is Craven.
Yeah.
And I wanted to challenge myself. Could I come up with something that looked like that? Could I make just by using images and photos? And could I set him in a Tarzan type movie? So here's a nice little poster of Tarzan's Magic Fountain. You see that little box on the left will be a photo. I'll insert Craven into that photo. And I thought there'd be plenty of room at the bottom for Sabu, Ka-Zar, to show up there with the Black Panther, and they will help Tarzan to fight Kraven the Hunter.
That's very cool.
Oh, very cool.
So as you can see, it says Ka-Zar and Black Panther must help Tarzan stop the terrible menace of Kraven the Hunter. And although Ka-Zar looks a little hokey, I was kind of pleased with my Kraven. And I don't know if you guys can figure out who that is. No, it's not Burt Reynolds.
Rick
That
Rude.
was going to be my guess.
Did I hear Rick Rude?
Yes.
A wrestler. Yeah, wrestler.
No. But if I let Eric stare at that for about an hour, I'm sure he'd come up with it. And maybe Strange Life, who's a native Chicagoan, could come up with that. The great middle linebacker,
Dick
Butkus.
Hey.
Yes.
Ah,
And so
Oh, wow.
look at that. Look at that terrible haircut. So I had to make him Kraven. And, give him a costume. And so, as you can see, he's coming out of that magic fountain that Tarzan has. So, but it doesn't really bring the house down. It's not the mole people, but earlier in the week, Gratu came on my stream on Saturday, and he kind of gave me a challenge for doing something about Frankenberry, making it more, monster or scary looking. So I thought I'll try to do something like make Frankenstein look like Frankenberry. And then I wanted a good subject to be scared. And I found this nice lady here. Although the gun's in the way, I had to erase all that gun and attach her wrist into her sleeve. So I'm using elements of Frankenstein to do that. And I came up with this.
Oh,
nice. You just created the cereal.
That's great.
Yeah, the cereal's coming alive. So
That's awesome.
Cool.
No to the sugar.
So this was Gratu's idea, and I just fell in love with the idea. When it comes to high fashion, you often think of Italy or France. You don't normally think of Asgard. Your average Asgardian wears the same clothing over and over again, day after day. Why, you ask? Well, because there's a clothing shortage in Asgard. Because Odin, the Lord of Asgard, buys up every scrap of fabric that he can get his hands on. He's a glutton for fine clothing and fashion boutiques. Although with this helmet, he sometimes has trouble with narrow doorways. But once he's made it through the door, he commands attention. All eyes are on him. And who could look away? Most people stare at him just to see what outfit he will try on next. Will he be wearing blue shoes with green gloves and orange pants, which is very difficult to make work these days? Or will it be the purple gloves and silver boots and pink knee pads? Only his hairdresser knows for sure. Here's his golden armor with ram horn helmet. Notice his sword, which is wider than the loops that hold it. We're pretty sure he uses Velcro for easy access to it. It's a common trade secret in the fashion world. Odin really likes to blend greens with blues, and then add a spark of gold. Here he is in his concrete throne. Not very comfortable, but at least he looks good. Oops, it looks like Thor didn't realize the cameras were on, and he has just inadvertently photobombed the shot. Oh well. There's nothing like wearing a helmet that accentuates your deep blue eyes. Surprisingly, Odin accomplishes this with various shades of orange and gold. And speaking of orange and gold, check out this unique chin strap and throat protector. His orange horns are made out of bendable piano keys, and everything ties in nicely with his matching seatbelt sash. Sometimes the more orange you can get, the better. Odin was inspired to design this helmet after reading some Andy Panda comic books. He designed the centerpiece of this helmet to look like Andy Panda's sidekick, Charlie Chicken, which just goes to show you never know what can inspire you to greatness. But the bird on a helmet look has had a couple of misfires. Last week's Mud Hen helmet didn't seem to work very well. Neither did his Bird of Dreariness helmet seem to turn any heads. But this doesn't mean they were bad designs.
Sometimes a true artist is way ahead of his time, so it may work in some future setting. And the less said about the green shoulders outfit made with long grass, the better. But you can't hold him down for long. He bounced back quite dramatically with the field goal bird of prey helmet, seen here commemorating the Rose Bowl's nearly 100 years of existence. Anyway, here's his gray-horned helmet that he wore during the trial of Thor and his stepbrother Loki. During the trial, Odin took a small recess and came back in the throne room with a purple version of the same helmet. Notice the orange-colored gloves and different scepter. Basically, the trial was secondary because most of us were in awe of his fashionable attire. The next day, he wore his yellow helmet and triangular-tipped long-sleeve number that still has the fashion world on its head. Let's face it, not everybody can mix yellow, green, and red, but somehow he manages to do the unthinkable. During invasions, Odin prefers his green battle helmet with disappearing horns. Notice when we zoom in on Odin and Thor, the battle has just finished. Odin still has horns at this point, but as we scroll down, Odin's horns disappear. How does he do this? We're not sure, and he's not telling. Of course, no one asks him anything because he's always flying off the handle. When he gets in a particular bad mood, he often wears a winged helmet. Although wings don't serve any useful purpose in battle, Odin sometimes prefers style over functionality. You want bigger wings? Well, here you go. He usually wears this helmet when he watches television. He says it helps get a clear image on his screen. Please note the goblet that Odin flings to the ground while he watches his round TV screen. Being Odin's cupbearer must have been a full-time job, always keeping it filled up. The only cushy job with nothing to do in Asgard is the royal barber. Odin never saw a razor in his life, so the royal barber would hire himself out to the general public. And did we say round television? Odin isn't limited to round screens, or rectangles, or even trapezoids. We suspect that this was a regular screen at one time, and Odin broke off pieces of it from time to time. As you can see, he has been known to hit the bottle quite often. This makes him very intense. And boy, does he ever get intense. The only way to calm him down is to show him old maps and let him think that he's leading the army into battle again. There's no telling what Odin is thinking half the time. He sits for hours on thrones with no legs. I'd imagine that's hard to get up out of after a while. And look at this chair. All of his money goes to his wardrobe, while his furniture would give you years of back trouble. This is why Odin is always sleeping the so-called Odin sleep. It's his only comfortable piece of furniture. He dozes off every chance he can get. It's almost as if he knows trouble is coming, and he better get some shut-eye and let everybody else handle things. And one of the big rules during the Odin sleep is you're not supposed to wake him up before he's ready. Everyone acts like that would be the end of the world. So they all remind each other, often with raised voices, about how bad it would be if he woke up. And yet look at all of these conversations going on with crowds of people in the royal bedchamber. I don't think it's possible to wake him up. He could sleep through a war. In fact, he's been known to do just that. Here's his dragon bed that he never got rid of from back in his kindergarten days. Here's his old waterbed with a huge letter A on it. I assume the letter A stands for Asgard. I tried to confirm that with the New York Times, but they were no help, even though they claim to be the best fact-checkers. After a successful nap, Odin likes to start the day taking what he calls the Imperial Bath. It seems Odin must climb in from the front of the tub, and it looks like Chaz, the towel boy, really hates his job. Odin keeps the palace at a constant 62 degrees, so he won't get too hot wearing all those layers of high-fashion clothing. So when he climbs out of the tub, he reaches for this fuzzy, warm bathrobe. Nothing's too good for the Lord of Asgard. And then some relaxing Norwegian bluegrass music played by Balder the Brave gets Odin ready for another day of fashion. His neck muscles are incredible, as this headdress weighs in at 18 pounds. You try wearing an 18-pound headdress for 2 hours straight, waiting for photographers to snap their pictures. When his cupbearer finally does get a day off, Odin will get very casual and resort to lounging around with his purple turtleneck. He designed the neck to be extra large so he can catch small pieces of food when he eats too fast and doesn't want to stain his shirt. Remember when I said that your typical Asgardian over the years has worn the same outfits and there's never really any change? The only Asgardian that Odin's hard work has apparently inspired is Loki, which is quite telling because it's Loki that is obsessed with stealing the throne from Odin. I suspect it's because he secretly wants access to Odin's wardrobe.
And now it's time for Tales of Asgard, read by me, Literature Lad. Entering the barren chamber, Odin sees, "It is you, evil Loki, who sows the seeds of discontent amongst our warriors. But this time you have gone too far. Your hammer holds no terror for me, Thunder God. Not while I possess my bewitched blade." Thus do the two immortal archenemies fight on, no quarter asked, and none given. Then, his eyes blazing like the fury of 1,000 suns, his voice rings out with force enough to shatter mountains. "Let the fighting cease. I so command. Have either of you seen my whisk broom?" No. We don't dare tell him that it's stuck to his helmet. "I think that you should send Thor to go look for it." "No. You should go, Loki." "Silence. Both of you shall go. I am faced with a grave problem in my palace. In order to solve it, you two must find my whisk broom." "What if we can't, sire?" "Then all of Asgard is doomed to get dirty."
That's not exactly how my copy reads.
Well, of course, I had to help Stan Lee's awful dialogue.
Well, we should probably quit while we're ahead.
By the way, am I getting paid for any of this?